What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast Sports. As always, I am your host, Harrison Van Tilburg, to the left of me, you got my blue-eyed, beautiful, best eyes, superlative for our senior class, John Witt. And behind the scenes, wearing his black Adidas hat, changing it up. He's going not to a snow, like a winter hat, like a toboggan, I guess.
Yeah, toboggan.
Going flat bill, a little nicer weather.
Yeah.
Past couple days. So, Ryan Smith behind doing all the technical stuff. But let's get right into it.
Of course.
But before we get right into it, so we're not getting right into it. John, you got anything to say to people? Before we get started.
I mean, we got a good World Series coming up. Shout out your Astros, AL champs. Got some Philly friends as well. Shout out the NL pennant winners.
Go Phillies.
Yeah, so should be a good one.
Should be a good one. Ryan, anything to say to people before we get started?
You know, I've been really thinking about some up-and-coming sports that I really like to watch recently. Volleyball's been up there.
Volleyball's awesome, dude.
Shout out Wisconsin Badgers.
I'm a big Wisconsin fan.
You guys are fucking fools. I hope you know that. Yeah, they're selling out arenas. I wonder why.
It's money.
It's money. Yeah, so shout out them. Pickleball, huge pickleball. I think Ryan also likes pickleball, so he might be getting into that as well. But the only thing that I have to say before we get started is that the Astros are currently undefeated in postseason. The two other teams that have done that up until this point in the wild card era, I believe, were like the 2014 Rockies or something like that, and then there was, some other team. Neither of them have gone on to win the World Series. The Phillies are in the NL East. The last three World Series, including this one, the last two World Series that the Astros have been in that they've lost, both to NL East teams.
Yep.
Both to arguably the lesser talented team that made it out of that bracket. 2019 Nationals were not favored to come out of the NL.
No, I'll give you the Nationals. I feel like the Braves were still pretty...
Braves were not favored to come out of the bracket last year. The Dodgers were.
Okay, I mean, if you're saying...
Braves were the Braves were 500. Like, they were like 88 and 88 and like made the postseason. Or not 88 and 88. That's not 500.
No.
162? What's that, 86?
It would be...
No, 76, and 76 is 500.
81 and 88, 81 and 81 would be 500.
Yeah, I think they're like 81 and 81. Like, that's not even...
No, they weren't that bad.
Bro, I swear. You look it up just to double check me. But they were still not the favorite to come out of that region, out of the NL. And the Phillies, for sure, were not favored to come out of the NL.
They're 88 and 73.
88 and 73. So that's even worse than 500, right? Not 500. That's
They're 88 and 73.
88. I thought you said 80 and 73. I was like, wait, that
No.
doesn't add up. Yeah.
No.
So they're not far off of that. But the Phillies are 87 wins or 88 wins.
What, 2019 is when the Nationals won?
Correct.
I guess they had more wins.
They're 93. But they still weren't favored. They still weren't favored to come out of the NL.
Let me look up the playoff rate. Did they win their division that year?
No. I think who won the NL? I think it might have been the Phillies.
Because I know...
No, the Phillies haven't made it since... I think it might have been the Braves.
In 2019?
Yeah.
It was the Braves.
Yeah.
They were the 2 seed. Lost to the Cardinals.
Yeah, so like they played Milwaukee, which I don't believe they were favored in that, and they obviously had to play the Dodgers.
Well, 4v5, and then...
I know, I'm saying Milwaukee, I don't think they were favored in that wild card.
Yeah.
And Dodgers clearly weren't favored there, and I couldn't really tell you that. But I think it's like the Phillies were like...
Well, they swept them.
Where they're the hottest team in baseball right now, so people were starting to pick the Nationals on this train. Mm-hmm. Same thing with like the Braves last year. Like, they're playing the Dodgers this year. Dodgers are like they won like 100 and some odd games, playing lights out. Braves only 88 wins, shouldn't even be here. Like barely made the postseason.
Well, at least the Braves won their division that year, though.
Last year?
Yeah.
Or this year?
Last year, in the year the Braves beat the Astros, 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would just say that they were not the favorites, even going into the postseason, let alone the World Series. The Astros were favorites in both of those series. Astros are again favorites this series.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Astros are going to lose the World Series, because I hope not. And I hope we win. But safe money right now would tell you to maybe pick the Phillies, with the Astros losing 2 NL East teams, might make it a third. And also, by the way, they're the underdog too. And the Phillies are playing really good baseball right now. They're one of the hottest teams they might be the hottest hitting team in baseball, honestly.
Yeah, and if speaking about sweeping teams and being undefeated, I believe they only have the one loss to the Padres, right?
No, they're 9-2
Oh, that's right. They did lose one
to the Braves.
And if Nola kind of choked that game against the Padres, they easily could have swept them. So
yeah, and the bigger thing too is also, like I said, the other two teams that have gone undefeated in the wild card era to the World Series ended up both losing as well. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully Astro breaks that trend. I would really appreciate it. It'd be nice to win one that not everybody can look back and say, oh, it was tainted, or talk shit. People are still going to talk shit and be like, oh, they're probably still banging trash cans. And,
of
all
course.
that stuff.
You have to.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But World Series baseball starts this Friday. Looking forward to it.
Of course.
But before we go any longer, Spotify, check us out on YouTube. YouTube, check us out on Spotify. Be a friend, tell a friend, share with friends. I'm sharing them with people I work with that I met 3 days ago.
There you go.
So I'm telling those people, like, subscribe, comment, ring that bell, follow us on Twitter, interact with us. We got some polls and everything coming up as well for you guys to interact with and vote and all that stuff. New episodes coming out every week, so make sure you follow those as well and are keeping up to date with what we got coming down the pipeline. And the outline of the show is going to be college football talk. Give our little poll update. We have some movement in the poll this week. Got a few new teams. Got a few teams that dropped out. We're going to go NFL review / fantasy team updates. Baseball playoff predictions, kind of a little overview. And then we got our pick'ems and 2-minute drill to wrap it up. John, are you ready to do this?
Absolutely.
All right, let's jump right into it. Our coast-to-coast top 25 poll. Ryan, 3, 2, 1. Did it work?
Oh, I missed it.
God damn it. No, put it up. You ruined it.
Moments passed.
Goddamn bad. Moments passed, ruined it. So we have some movement in the poll. We got some movement.
Not seeing a lot of movement.
But not
a ton.
Not a crazy amount.
The least amount of movement we've had so far, by far.
In a while, for sure.
Yeah.
Number 1 through 5 believes all the same. Ohio State, Georgia, Tennessee, Michigan, Clemson. Nothing. I think those are probably all the top 4 favorites to make the Final Four. You'd say, oh my God, Harrison, how can 5 teams make the top 4? Somebody's got to be dished out. Well, Ohio State and Michigan are obviously going to play each other. That's going to be a loss that'll probably remove one of them from contention.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia and Tennessee definitely have to play each other, and I believe that's in 2 weeks. And then you have the SEC championship too, where you think, oh my God, Alabama might sneak back in. But
I would say Alabama would probably have the better chance over Georgia and Tennessee today,
1,000%.
only because they're in the West and they don't share a division, and they're almost guaranteed. Nobody in the West is catching them because the West is garbage this year.
Right.
So I mean, just until Georgia and Tennessee play each other, Alabama's ahead of them. But until the winner comes out of that, the winner will then pass Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, Georgia and Tennessee, there is a world where both of them make it.
Sure.
Yeah. Especially if Georgia, let's say, beats Tennessee and then wins the Big Ten. Not Big Ten, that'd be weird.
Yeah,
SEC championship, that would give Alabama 2 losses, assuming Alabama makes it that far. That'd give Alabama 2 losses, basically remove them from contention. And then let's say Clemson loses in the ACC or TCU loses. There's a world where it happens. I hope I'm not in that world personally. I don't like it necessarily when 2 conference teams make it, unless in my opinion they're unequivocally the 2 of the best 4 teams that should make it. Like Ohio State, Michigan, when it was 2v3, what was that, 2017? 16. I personally thought Ohio State and Michigan were the 2 best teams, 2 of the best 4 teams in the country at that time, even after they played. And I think both of them should have made it. Obviously, you could definitely argue that because the 4th team that made it, I think, was Notre Dame.
It was Washington. Washington did.
They were competitive.
No, and they played a tough schedule.
They definitely deserved it, but they ended up getting crushed in the playoffs.
So did Ohio State. That was the year we lost 31-0.
But that was the Clemson and Alabama, correct?
Yeah.
Clemson, Alabama national championship.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was one of the 3 in a row they had.
But yeah, and who knows? Maybe Michigan would have given up a better fight than Ohio State. Maybe.
I also think Penn State would have a stronger argument that year. They won the Big Ten that year.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's definitely one of those ones where it's a world that can happen. I don't like necessarily seeing it unless I can be 1,000% positive that it is one of the best 2 of the best 4 teams in the country. Which as of right now, I would argue based off our poll, Tennessee and Georgia are definitely two of the best 4 teams.
Sure.
I also think Ohio State and Michigan are two of the best 4 teams,
Sure.
well-rounded offensively and defensively. Tennessee, I've got some questions on defensive aspect.
Yeah, they're not good.
Little suspect there. Clemson, I would argue, is better there, and I would say Alabama's probably better there too.
100%.
But outside of that, offense wins you the game 95% of the time because you have to score more points than the other team. That's typically how most sports work.
Yeah.
Most sports,
correct.
you don't score less points and win. Last time I checked.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just making sure I didn't know if that changed. at all.
Golf.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. You do if you score more points than your opponent, you lose.
You
in
do
golf.
lose in
you
golf,
do
yes.
lose in golf. Ryan, confirm. Easy clap. All right. 6 through 10 goes TCU Horned Frogs, making a little bit movement, cracking the top 6, being one of the first 2 out, which I don't think is necessarily that important, but people make that kind of a big deal, like the first 2 out, or
The
I mean,
graphic
it goes
shows
to New Year's 6 Bowl, so that is kind of important. Then you got number 7 Alabama, number 8 Oregon, number 9 USC, and number 10 Oklahoma State. USC and Oklahoma State cracking back in the top 10 after back losses, I believe, last week. Or USC, yeah. So both of them cracked back in the top 10 after having tough losses last week. Then you got 11 through 15 Wake Forest, 12 UCLA, dropping pretty big, 6-12 for us, getting kind of worked by Oregon, and then not necessarily worked. It was kind of a shootout, honestly. They both kind of hung some points there, but Oregon was in control 95% of the game from first kick to last kick.
No, Oregon looks really good. I think they're kind of a sleeper team.
Mm-hmm. Especially because their only loss is
to
Georgia.
Yeah, no, I think Oregon can make it back into the playoff picture. Bo Nix has been really impressive, especially if you compare him to.
Yeah, I know. I shit on him last week.
Yeah.
He played fucking great. So.
Yeah, and that's why you're behind in the pickups. So.
Yeah, and also Bo Nix, I don't know if you saw his discussion board participation.
I did not know.
Bo Nix literally participated in a discussion board, and one of his college classes was just a period. It was literally just a period and hit enter. And that was his discussion board.
I mean,
so,
sometimes
Bo
that's
Nix
what
is
you have
committed.
to say. Yeah.
He's committed to the Oregon Ducks football.
And academics.
Not necessarily academics, but
No.
he's definitely committed to the Ducks football.
That's academics.
Almost better than Jameis Winston stealing crab legs and saying "fuck her right in the pussy" in the student union. Iconic. And then dressing back in uniform when he got suspended the game.
Absolutely hilarious.
Even better.
Goofball.
Then you got 13 Utah, 14 Penn State, 15 Syracuse. Syracuse dropped a little bit, losing a great game against Clemson. 16 the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Then you got 17 through 20 is Ole Miss, North Carolina, Kansas State. 20 is NC State, and then 21 through 25 is the Kentucky Wildcats, Tulane Green Wave, LSU, Liberty Flames.
Yep.
Correct? Is that a bird?
Yes, it's like I think it's like a phoenix type of bird.
Okay,
type of thing.
And then Cincinnati Bearcats rounding out our top 25. TCU, like I said, made top 6. Ole Miss 7-17, kind of a big drop. Just a little fun fact, John, that I figured you'd appreciate. I was in the state of Alabama this past weekend.
You were.
And gambling is legal there.
Is it?
Maybe not. But my friends were sports betting via offshore accounts, so maybe it wasn't.
Okay.
I'm not going to name names because for legal reasons.
Yeah, gotta protect your boys.
Gotta protect my boys. They were like, dude, Ole Miss, LSU, Ole Miss is number 7 or like 10. LSU's not ranked. That's a lock. And I said, boys, do you not listen to the boys at Coast to Coast Sports? They're like, what do you mean? I said, me and my co-host, Beautiful Blue Eyes, say that Ole Miss is the most fraudulent team in college football this year.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't believe you. And I was like, look, man, I'm just telling you right now. You can bet on them. You're going to lose your parlay. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
They ended up not betting on them.
Good
Then
call.
6 hours later, we're at the bar, and the final score goes by 41-20 LSU.
It wasn't even close.
And I looked at it and I was like, if you guys want to apologize to me now, or, we can do tomorrow when you're sober. And they're like, I'm sorry. You're right. And so John and I just want to tell you guys, we know what we're talking about.
Of course.
Ole Miss was fraudulent from the get-go, and they showed their true colors this week.
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason why they dropped so drastically is you kind of had to put them up there. They kind of, in a way, kind of earned it. I mean, we had
you can't be undefeated and not be that high. I mean, especially when you're getting to week 9 for us.
Yeah.
If you're 8-0 or 7-0 going through it, as much as we want to put like Alabama above you because we know Alabama's better than you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like they're undefeated. They haven't lost. They played their talent. They played teams in front of them, and they hadn't lost.
Yeah, and if you look at our top 8 from last year or from last week, it was 8 of the 9 undefeated teams, and then Syracuse kind of trailing at 12. And I mean, you kind of had to put them up there. And then when they lost, they showed their true colors. You can put them up. I put them behind a lot of these one-loss teams that you see here, i.e., UCLA, Penn State.
I put them behind
Illinois.
I put them behind
Wake Forest.
a few. I put them behind a few 2-loss teams. Utah. I put Utah ahead of them. I feel like Utah's shown a little bit better stripes than them, and I believe I think that's the only 2-loss team I had them behind.
Utah, because you still have them at 14.
Yeah.
I had them behind Utah as well.
I was close to dropping them below Kentucky. I'm not gonna lie.
I wouldn't be mad at you.
But I also said Kentucky was fraudulent.
No, they beat Kentucky. They deserve to be in front of Kentucky. But Kentucky, I think they're our most fraudulent team remaining in our poll.
Mm-hmm.
Besides maybe Illinois. I'll give Illinois the benefit of the doubt, though. They're destroying everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Kentucky and Cincinnati are probably our 2 biggest frauds.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati's fine. I'm not upset with them in the
poll. Almost blew their win against SMU last week. They were winning like 17-3 or 17-0, and then they were winning like 29-27.
They played a bad USF team, who's I believe 1-5, 1-6 right now. Only beat them by 4 points at home. They're teetering with it, but they're a 1-loss team. They're fine. I think Kentucky. They play Tennessee this week. We'll see how that goes. Might not see them here next week, and then. Who's the other team I said?
What, fraudulent?
Oh, yeah, and then Cincinnati. So,
so the 2 teams that we have dropped out from this week, from our poll last week to this week, is Texas and Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Texas kind of got worked by Oklahoma State.
I wouldn't say worked. They were winning
20 points.
It might have ended that way, but they were winning the majority of the game. No, I don't think it finished that. I think it ended up being a 1.
It would have been closer. Maybe I'm thinking of that's the LSU Ole Miss game was 20 points. I think it's like 34-20 something.
Yeah, this was or
34-41.
Yeah,
so that was a 1-score game.
Yeah, 1-score game.
Definitely a close game. I think that I was misremembering my teams, but Texas has 3 losses now.
Yeah, and same with Purdue too.
Yeah, and
our next 2 teams out, both of them picked up their 3rd loss.
And Purdue had you can't lose to Wisconsin.
You can't.
Wisconsin is going through it this year, man. If this was a normal year, you lose to Wisconsin, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Wisconsin typically hovers around the top 15, but not this year, man. We're firing their coach. But our 2 newcomers, which I don't know if you guys picked up on, is LSU. They made our poll a couple weeks back.
They actually did. I was looking.
They were not top 25 when they beat Florida State.
I could have sworn. Well, they lost Florida State.
I
could have sworn they were in our poll too. Because I looked back to copy and paste the colors for the graphic.
Of course.
And I did not see them in any of our polls. I could have sworn they were at least once.
Oh, that's
but they never made any of our polls. I'm
looking
at all of them here. Yeah.
Well, that's actually not sad because they didn't deserve it. I guess because clearly we didn't put them in there. They didn't deserve it. They didn't belong.
I think they came close.
So now we have LSU making our poll for the first time. Welcome to the poll.
Welcome to the poll.
Welcome to the poll. And our good friends at Liberty.
Yes.
6-1.
6-1.
6-1. Only loss. Wake Forest by 1 point. Wake 11. Forest is our number 11. Liberty obviously is an independent, correct? Are they independent?
They are either independent and going to join the Sun Belt, or they are currently in the Sun Belt.
Well, let's see here.
I'm looking up SEC
because it gives me all the.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Yeah,
it should.
Click on
standings, yeah, and then it gives me all of them. They're not conference at USA.
No, they'd be Sun Belt or independent.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think they're
they're independent right now. Oh, they're not even 6-1. They're 7-1.
Yeah,
and their only loss is to
Wake Forest.
Wake Forest by 1, but they also beat. I think they beat BYU. No.
Yeah, they absolutely blew the doors off of BYU.
Blew the doors off of BYU
last week.
The Gardner-Webb 1-point win, obviously.
That's a little sketch.
A little sketch, but you follow that up with a 30-point almost win against.
BYU
who we respected definitely early in the year, but they're definitely handling their opponents that they're supposed to, and they're looking really good right now. And obviously the 1-point loss to Wake Forest, aging really well for them.
Yeah.
So I think they definitely deserve a spot at our table for sure.
And Liberty, along with James Madison, have both made the jump to the FBS really well.
Yeah.
James Madison joining this year. Liberty joined, I believe, in 2020 or 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So not too long ago, but I think they've already made the college football playoff poll at one point. Not anywhere high, but
yeah,
they've made the poll a couple of times. They're a sleeper team down in Virginia.
Yeah, I think that Liberty could be making some noise, definitely in our poll. They'll continue to climb if they keep winning, and obviously some of the bottom teams keep losing. Are they going to crack our top 10? Probably not.
Probably
Are they going to
not.
crack our top 15? Probably not. But it just depends on who loses ahead of them, who loses behind them. That's the way the poll works. But,
Yeah.
I thought they deserved a good shout out. Oregon State was my fringe team. I was kind of between both of them because Oregon State's 2 losses, I believe, are USC and
UCL. No, who they lost to Washington, right?
Well, give me a second here. Improv for me.
But yeah, just looking at the poll, I think LSU, they're kind of a team to look out for. I think they could give Bama a shot here. But we'll see. So who'd they lose to?
They lost to Utah.
Utah.
USC by 3.
Oh, they got destroyed by Utah. Yeah.
And then they got smacked by Utah, 42-16. But those were back-to-back weeks. So that's, you lose to USC by 3, maybe you're fatigued, banged up, all that stuff. But outside of that, they won the games that they, in theory, are supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to beat Colorado, they beat Colorado. Supposed to beat Washington State, beat Washington State. Supposed to beat Stanford, and they beat Stanford. USC didn't do that. Not USC. Notre Dame didn't do that.
They did not know.
So I think our poll's looking pretty good right now. I like the way that we have some of our teams that are quote unquote fraudulent are now finally showing their true colors to where we could actually rank them.
Yeah.
I think that we really truly wanted to rank Ole Miss like bottom 15 and below. But I feel like if we put that poll out, people would be like, "You're insane. They're undefeated. You can't put them that low." And we get that. But now they're showing our true colors. And our opinions are kind of coming full circle, which makes us look like we know what we're talking about.
And we do. We do. Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, they're fraudulent. They'll probably lose again. They will lose again.
Mm-hmm.
They still got to play Alabama. But no, I think LSU deserves some credit as well.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Brian Kelly looked really good this past week, as good as that asshole can. But I think they can give Alabama a shot. They could win that game. I think it's in Death Valley.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a night game, I might even pick them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think LSU's definitely going to be picking up some steam here.
Yep.
Especially with some of the was it JT McDaniels? Is that what his name is?
Jaden. I think it's Jaden Daniels.
Whatever. The LSU quarterback,
Arizona State transfer,
is who I'm referring to. Is starting to really come into his own. I think he's looking really good.
Yeah,
very mobile, very athletic, can slang the rock.
And he was really good at Arizona State last couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Transferred out. A lot of people were upset when he transferred too. The players kind of trashed his locker, and like we're taking stuff like, "Oh, this is mine now."
Yeah,
out of his locker. But it looks like he's making a good decision for him.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because Arizona State
is terrible.
Is not only terrible, but head coach gets fired. Some coaches were undermining Tom Herman. So definitely toxic environment to be in. Yeah, but we'll see. But let's get to our NFL in review. Before we get there, let's talk about our first sponsor, John. Cool if we talk about our first sponsor?
Go right ahead.
All right. Our first sponsor is Peatabilities. Peatabilities is in the fast casual/casual food industry. Go to their website, find their locator, see where the trucks are at. They've got fast food trucks that tour all around Columbus, Ohio. Post up at some spots. Grove City is definitely one of the spots that they post up here on Broadway. They'll be down the Columbus Commons when all the other food trucks are down there as well. So those are kind of some of the regulars. But figure out where they are. Just go to the website, go to locator, figure out where they're at for the day. You can obviously go to the brick and mortar store in Old Hilliard, Ohio. They have a stall there as well. Personally, I'm really big on the rice bowls right now, John.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of Euro meat, or I've been kind of digging into trying to get a little slimmer.
Okay.
Trying to feel my oats, feel a little bit better about myself. I get the falafel, the vegan choice, and get that with my rice bowl. A little bit of Bella sauce, banana peppers, jalapeno if they got it, or if they don't, get a little more spice in there. I love the rice bowls. I think they're one of the best, if not my current favorite meal right now. John, what's your favorite meal?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it once, I said it again. I'm a big buffalo chicken guy. Get the buffalo chicken wrap, or pita. You just get the blue cheese on there, get the ranch on there. not much better than that. They serve it up nice, serve it up fresh, and it's very easy to find out where their locations are. Just go to the website. You can find out where they are. You can even request them too.
Yeah, I mean, they have catering. They have the ability to get you, if you have grad party,
Yeah,
and you want to get them to come to your grad party, they have that. They have catering. They can do food truck events for you as well. So make sure you check them out and figure out where they are at for the day, and make sure you tell them that their friends sent you by.
yeah,
We love them. They love us. Make sure you check out Pete Abilities.
do it.
All right, man. Let's get into the next part. John, set the table for the NFL.
So the NFL, maybe one of the most rigged leagues.
Maybe.
Arguably. We've got a decent week of games coming up here. The Browns suck.
Yeah.
My Browns suck. They're 2-5. Not looking very good. Could be better. Could be worse. And probably not worse. It's probably the worst scenario. But yeah, it's been completely downhill since blowing that game against the Jets. Haven't won a game since we beat the Steelers on Thursday night. It's been a rough go. Your Colts made a big quarterback change, going with the boy from Texas. Are the Colts back? Colts are back.
Yeah, so thank you for kind of setting up a little bit about what's going on. I think those are maybe Browns definitely not looking great.
No, it's bad.
The worst part is the Browns are arguably a few plays away from not necessarily being great, but definitely still manageable.
The only game where it's like, okay, yeah, we definitely should have lost that game was the Patriots game. I mean, Ravens last week, couple calls don't go our way. We lose.
The questionable
PI
there.
The offsides, that was not a false start. And then you had the whole Jets debacle. That was
and
one of the most
kick.
horrific things I've watched. We missed a kick against the Chargers. And then it just feels like things that could go wrong for the Browns are going wrong for the Browns. And I think that's kind of the same boat with the Colts. I think the Colts are tired of being in this constant quarterback carousel of what the hell's going on, who's going where, why. And I think that has to play a little bit with the different coordinators that we keep getting every year and the different quarterbacks we keep getting every year. We've had Sam Ehlinger for the past 2 or 3 years. He's been in our system. He got moved from third string to second string a couple weeks ago over Nick Foles. So he's clearly doing something right in these practices. And Matt Ryan, I think, coming off of a 398-yard passing week, a couple touchdowns, and a winning drive, looked absolutely abysmal against the Titans. Looked like he never played quarterback, in my opinion. He's had a couple games. Yeah. He's had 2 or 3 games like that this year. Now, some of that I blame on the offensive line. You can't get sacked 26 times, be the most in the NFL, and expect to be a winner. So yeah,
I'll be curious to see how. All I have to say is the Colts need to be 1,000% sure about this move, because if they're not, you can create something that I don't want, which is QB room. If you have 2 QBs in the quarterback room, you have no quarterbacks in the quarterback room. I don't want that internal competition where they think that I'm better than you and you're better than me, and then now we're just butting heads the entire time.
I think Matt Ryan, being as old as he is, I think he'll be able to take that pretty well, especially.
Yeah, he's a professional.
Yeah, and everyone around his age isn't even playing anymore, so he can. I think he'll be fine taking a back seat. But the other thing with that too is, I mean, I don't think any of these quarterbacks are even going to be the quarterback of the future for the Colts.
Yeah.
So even if there is,
Mac Jones come to the Colts.
Yeah, so I think that'll just be an issue you have for this year. That'll be a this year problem. Yeah. I don't think it'll foresee you forever. But yeah, I think Sam Ehlinger, with how bad the Colts offensive line is, he's a little bit of a more mobile guy.
Anybody's more mobile than that.
Especially compared to Matt Ryan. So we'll see. He might be able to create some more plays that Matt Ryan can't. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll definitely be an interesting commodity for me as a Colts fan. It'll and we're playing the Commanders, so it should be a win.
The Commanders aren't bad. They beat.
Well, Carson's not playing. Is it Heineke?
Heineke's better than Carson.
Well, yeah, you can argue that, neither here nor there, but I'm just saying that it should still be a win. We are a better team than them, and we should come out on top.
You are 3-point favorites. I'm actually surprised by that.
But we should be.
Oh, they beat the Packers last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we should be the better team. Obviously, the better team doesn't always win. We know that.
Yeah.
We should be the better team there, and I think this is a good week. It's not like you're going to play the Bills, where it's like, oh, hey, here you go, Sam. Good luck.
Yeah.
I think we put him in a chance to be successful, so we'll see how that goes. But speaking of the Bills, Eagles, Bills, Chiefs. I mean, to me, those are the three contenders to win in the Super Bowl. Eagles are a little still suspect, but right now, out of the NFC, the two threats I thought the Eagles were going to have are falling apart, and that's the Bucs and the Packers.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the only other team I can see coming out of the NFC that would be somewhat of a threat to the Eagles would be the Cowboys.
That's what I'm thinking.
And I don't think the Cowboys are that good.
Yeah, and we'll see how the Giants play against the Giants have actually beaten the Cowboys.
Yeah, so
it might be,
maybe it's the Giants. But they beat the Cowboys when it wasn't Dak.
Yeah,
Cooper Rush plays well, and he's like 4-1 or 5-1 as a starting QB.
Mm-hmm.
But you want the team at their best and the most healthy and the best team that's available, and I think Dak would make that roster over Cooper. Yeah. Obviously, they did it last week, and they won, not necessarily in a pretty way, but they won still. I just think the Eagles might be the best and most, and they made a trade this year, today, to get another defensive piece for them.
It was that dude from the Bears that's really good.
Isn't it Raekwon Smith?
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, the Eagles have to be the front runner of the NFC.
Yeah, and we're also forgetting about another team that's kind of fallen off, the Rams.
Yeah.
They're 3-3, I think.
Abysmal.
Yeah, and I mean, there's teams that are looking better, like maybe the 49ers kind of got a piece there with
McCaffrey.
Seahawks are better than people think.
They're winning their division.
Yeah, but nobody I would put above the Eagles right now.
Yeah, so I mean, I think to me right now, out of the NFC, now if the Bills were in the NFC, I'd say the Bills are 1,000%, or the Chiefs, vice versa. It doesn't matter. But since the Bills and Chiefs are in the AFC,
I think I'd hold back on the Chiefs.
Only loss is the Colts, and they kind of lost on a.
Well, they lost to the Bills. They got 2 losses.
Yeah, but the Bills is like a real loss. Colts one's kind of a fraudulent loss. I'm saying their only real loss is the Bills.
I got you.
The Colts one, they would have won that game if they didn't get an unsportsmanlike conduct because the guy was talking trash to Matt Ryan, which I didn't even know you could really get. It's not like he followed him to the sideline. It's he sacked him, got up, said something, and the referee didn't like it.
Yeah.
And that literally set up the game-winning drive. So very, very weird kind of way to win a game. I was happy with it, but still very odd. But the Bills and the Chiefs are, to me, the two best teams in the AFC right now. The Bengals are kind of catching on right now. Joe Burrow's played phenomenally well ever since his terrible, terrible Week 1 game.
Oh, Falcons was the other Browns loss. I was forgetting.
Yeah. Oh, that was a bad performance.
That was just the Browns blowing it in the red zone. But sorry to cut you.
But the Chiefs and the Bills, to me right now, are the two favorites coming out of the AFC. I personally don't see anybody really kind of holding anything to them.
Yeah, it's not anybody in the South. And then the only other competition would really be the Bengals or Ravens. Ravens have just, I mean, I think the Ravens are better than the record, but I mean, they did choke a couple games, and you got to take that into consideration. Maybe the Dolphins bounce back with Tua, but nothing that would compare to what the Bills are doing. Maybe they can catch up to the Chiefs. Yeah. I think the Chiefs are they can lose games. I think they're not as S tier as they've been the last couple years, but they're still A tier in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Bills, to me, are the overall Super Bowl favorites. If I had to pick a gun to my head, team winning the Super Bowl, I'm picking the Bills 1,000%.
Easy.
Obviously, the Chiefs gave the Bills a run for their money, and they even had a chance to win it there.
Mm-hmm.
Bills came with a great defensive stop, sealed the game. That's kind of just the way it works. But to me, these are the three best teams in the NFL, and it's not even really close.
Yeah, and the game was in Arrowhead, so I'll give the Bills a pass for that as well.
Yeah.
The game was also kind of just weird game as well.
Yeah. So I mean, 24-20 when their previous playoff game, which typically playoff games supposed to be lower scoring, higher, competition, was like 52-49 or something like that. And this game was 20-24. It's just a very different game we kind of saw there. So I think that the NFL's getting mighty interesting. We're coming down to where teams need to start making moves. Trade deadline, I think, is this week. Or is it next week?
It's coming up whenever.
I think it's this Tuesday or next Tuesday. I can't remember off the top of my head. So we'll see. We'll keep you guys updated on any big trades happening. Raekwon Smith obviously happened. Christian McCaffrey happened. But outside of that, fantasy review. John, I'll let you go first.
Yeah. So gotta look at the score here. Ryan and I hashed it out this week.
I believe somebody.
I came out on top. 125 to 93. Yeah, everyone pretty much stepped up. Everyone else was solid. Emmeron St. Brown got a concussion on the early on the game, so he only got me 1.4 points. But everybody else was pretty solid. Justin Tucker 13 points. Dallas defense
Wild. Justin Tucker.
Got me 19 points.
That's huge.
The defense was my highest scorer this week. Pickens got me 18. Kelsey 15. Olave 17. Dameon Pierce 15. Montgomery got me 12. Then Geno Smith got me 13. So everybody just solid performance.
Yeah.
Besides Emmeron St. Brown, which he can't control getting a concussion. Picked up Chuba Hubbard right before the game started on Sunday. He got me 15 points on the bench. Doesn't count, but looks good. Everybody on my bench did good too. Everybody just got 10 points besides Emmeron St. Brown and Diggs, who was on a bye.
So Diggs come back this week.
Yes.
That's huge for you. And you said you beat Ryan, correct?
Yes.
So Ryan, obviously that kind of answers your fantasy review. Lost to John. How do you think your team did? Underperformed?
I had probably my two, not biggest, but I had Josh.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Granted, Daniel Jones did get me, what was it,
28.78.
That's better than Josh Allen.
Plus, and I would
that's on par. That's on par. You know what I'm saying? That's on par with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's probably giving you 20.
It's not showing my
28 points too, but the average is 21 or 22 points for a quarterback. So I think that's pretty great.
Running back play was not good for you this week.
Yeah, that's kind of what hurt me the most. And it's not showing okay, here we go. Wait, huh? No, it's glitched.
I got to pull it up right in front of me.
Yeah, but I think my running backs didn't do very well. I think Clyde didn't do well, or Fournette.
Clyde did.
Zeke actually did the best out of all of them, didn't he?
Yeah, so Clyde did okay with 9.2. That's for a running back.
Yeah.
Fournette only got 4.6, which was terrible. And then Zeke had 17.7. So Zeke did good. Your Tampa Bay defense only got 1 point.
Yeah. Great.
Your kicker had 11.
Ever since I picked that guy up, fucking the third or fourth week, he's been putting in work.
Yeah, it's fair.
I mean, he's no Justin Tucker, but hey, guy giving you 11 points at the kicker spot.
Yeah, I mean, so I won mine.
Yeah,
and then, with a very, very abysmal scoring of 103. So I squeaked her out.
Yeah.
Per se, and I almost lost to somebody that didn't start a quarterback this week.
Yikes! Oh, I was also the high scorer this week by a point.
All right, nice. Proud of you.
Score.
Yeah, I had 103.72, and the guy I went against had 93.7. Now I will say though, he has two quarterbacks, and neither of them played. So thank God for that. But my best performers were George Kittle and Njoku for the Browns. Kittle got me 21, decided not to play fucking left tackle this week, which is awesome. And Njoku got me 14, which is pretty great because I feel like outside of Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, and then the occasional George Kittle flare-up, if you get 10 points out of your tight end, you're happy with that.
Yeah.
So those guys were definitely my best performers. Justin Herbert got me 18 points, which isn't great. Definitely a little under the average, I would say. Jonathan Taylor got me 15. Like to see that a little bit higher, but that's pretty solid too. But outside of that, my team did not look great. But, I'm hoping to rally this week. This week, I've got my dad, who has yet to win a game, but he is getting hosed in what I would call unlucky performances. That's all I got to say for that.
Okay. He is last in our league, 0-7.
Yes.
Tough look for your dad.
Yeah, my dad, week one, lost to my uncle by 10 points, but he scored 123 points, and my uncle scored 132. Yeah. Great week. Then he lost to you, scoring 104 points, but you scored 160. Come on. You're not going to compete really against that.
Yeah.
Then he lost to someone else, scoring 110 points, and they scored 125. Then he scored 103 points and lost to 108. Now, I will say, though, he lost scoring 85 points, but that's when he had 4 people out and couldn't really adjust around that. And then he lost to my brother 105 to 103. My dad scored 100 points every single week plus.
I'm looking at the
and is not doing, is not coming up. Like, his points for have to be one of the highest for being in last. Like, he's got 740 points for, and he's in dead last.
I was just gonna read off. He has more points than you.
Yeah.
Jay Bishop.
Yeah.
And
Shane
and Joe.
And he's close with Travis.
He's very close with Travis. Yes.
But I mean, for somebody being 0-7, it's just like he can't buy a win at this point.
He can buy Aaron Rodgers from me.
He can buy Aaron Rodgers from you. But that's kind of our fantasy in review, and that's kind of like what we talked about in the NFL. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy happening. I think it'll be ramp up here a little bit once these trade deadlines go by, and we'll see who goes where. But let's get to our second sponsor before we get to our last thing to bring up this week. Second sponsor is National Road Golf Course. Days are getting shorter, and the weather is turning on us. That does not mean your golf game has to disappear. National Road Golf Course has indoor simulators that you can bring 1, 2, 3, 4, hell, all your friends.
Absolutely.
They do special party events, and you can rent those simulators out for a birthday party, or if you want to kind of set up your own little golf league, call ahead, see what their availability is. Obviously, booking and is booking fast. Don't let your golf game suffer just because the winter changes on you. The weather changes to winter on you. Sharpen your tools in the off season. I'm not saying go every day. That's ridiculous. Go once a week. Go once every 2 weeks. Sharpen those games. Get your hits in. Get your swings in. And go. And if you want to play course, John, I mean, they've got courses you can play.
Yeah, they got plenty of different courses. You can play at sunny California.
Oh yeah.
You can
play overseas.
You got plenty of different options. Kind of change up the courses. Get you in some different situations that you might not get anywhere else in a real course, just going to the courses in your area.
Yeah.
It's a very good way. It's a good way to kind of keep you in rhythm during kind of the cold season, the off season. Good way to keep in a good golf form.
Yeah, good golf form. And if you don't want to play golf and just want to hit a range, guess what? They got a range on the simulators too.
Absolutely. Gives
you information whether you're open, closed, slice, all that information that you need to help take your game to the next level. So check out our friends at National Road Golf Course, just outside of West Jefferson, Ohio, off of Route 40. Be a friend, tell a friend, let them know that we sent them, and we love them and they love us. So Thank you for sponsoring the pod. Let's move on to playoff baseball. We'll keep it brief. Yeah. Phillies coming out of the NL, because we talked about it in the beginning. Phillies coming out of the NL. Astros coming out of the AL. Astros sweeping the Yankees. I feel like you're not an Astro fan, and I know that.
Yeah.
Cleveland Reds fan. A little bit of both.
Yeah.
But you had to be happy seeing the Yankees get swept.
Yeah.
Would you argue, because I would, you argue that Cleveland would have stolen at least one game from the Astros?
Probably.
I would say so.
I mean, they're not beating the Astros, so it is what it is either way. But yeah, no, it was good seeing a bunch of the Yankees fans upset. We got to see more complaining from Aaron Boone. It was just like I was kind of tossed on who I was gonna root for. I was kind of leaning Yankees, but at the same time, I didn't really care. And then once Aaron Boone started just running his mouth again and complaining about the roof being open, it was a lucky home run. Who cares if it's lucky? It happened.
Right.
It was just the whole.
It's sometimes
they deserve to lose.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be good.
Yeah, what are you gonna?
I'd rather be lucky than good sometimes.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't file a complaint into the MLB to get those runs removed.
Yeah, right.
And I'm surprised the MLB didn't do it for
them. And honestly, I am a little bit I don't know if Daddy Boone knows this, but the Astros do not decide whether the roof is open or not. Regular season, if it is above a certain temperature or above a certain humidity, the roof can stay closed, because we wanted a retractable roof. We need a little bit of moolah from taxpayer dollars. Since we got that moolah from taxpayer dollars, we had to set guidelines on when the roof would be open and would not be open so the fans could get use of our taxpayer dollars. If we wanted to go full dome, no roof, then we wouldn't have had to use our taxpayer dollars, and it doesn't matter because you can't open it. But when it comes to playoff baseball, the MLB commissioner and higher ups have a say whether the roof is open or closed.
Interesting. I didn't know.
Carlos Correa played 6 seasons for the Astros,
Mm-hmm.
and he played less than 25 games with the roof open. So trust me, the Astro faithful do not want the roof open. We want it to be closed. We want it to be loud. We want it to be obnoxious. We want to feel like the pitchers were right on top of you. Most fans and most fans of opposing teams and most teams would actually rather the roof be open. So Daddy Manfred came in and said it's below this certain temperature, below this certain humidity, open the roof. And we did, and who knows, maybe it came back to bite him on the ass for the Yankees and it benefited the Astros. I would say so. Aaron squared that ball up pretty solid.
Yeah.
But, sometimes the ball falls your way and sometimes it doesn't. And it fell our way that game. So I was happy with it. Obviously, my team won. But to me, you can't blame one swing of the bat. How about the fact that you struck out 18 times in the same game? I think that to me is a bigger issue than one hit not going your way.
Yeah. And, everybody's post-game interview from that game was just abysmal.
Clowning.
Now, Aaron Judge's was fine. I think he just
his was the best.
Yeah, he was just like, I should have. If I would have known, I would have hit it the other way. Right. That's a perfect response for that when everyone else around you is being a bunch of whiny bitches.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the Yankees deserve to lose. They probably should not have beaten Cleveland, and the way they ran their mouth, the way they just keep complaining and whining.
And
it's good.
I will say, the MLB almost tried to give the Yankees a win. Game 4, they delayed the Astros-Yankee game because of threat of rain. Yeah. Not raining, the threat of it. And it never happened.
And that's what happened.
So I'm just saying, I swear the MLB, it's a conspiracy. I know it's kind of conspiracy, but it barely rained against Cleveland. And they also, Philly and the Padres played during rain. Actual rain was on the field. And they didn't delay that game. No. Why the fuck are we delaying for a threat of rain? I'm telling you, man, it's a little fishy. That's all I'm getting.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I don't get how the Phillies can play in rain.
Yeah.
But the AL, I guess, just can't play in rain.
I guess
they got rid of the DH in the NL. The new difference is the AL can't play in rain. The NL.
It's the trades. It's the trade-off.
I guess that's the new difference.
But speaking of the NL, Phillies, arguably the hottest team right now, hitting wise.
Yep.
Defense a little sketchy, pitching a little sketchy. But outside of that, I mean, they're hitting and they're getting back in games, going down 4-0, coming back and winning the game. Clutch hitting. Bryce Harper bottom of the 8th, down 2 or down 1, hits a home run to put him ahead by 1 or tie it. I mean, Philly's playing really good baseball right now.
Yeah, I was upset. I went to 6:00 mass on Sunday, so I missed the end of I think I left home about the 6th or 7th inning, so I missed the Harper home run, and I just get out of church, I put my phone out of Do Not Disturb, look through my text, I see a text from, we have some Philly friends.
Yes, we do.
And I just see a text from our good friend, Coach of the Year, Don Benz. And he's just like on cloud 9 after that Bryce Harper home run. Ian's at the library, of course.
Of course he is. Goddamn nerd.
And he was like, oh, shoot, I need to get a string for this. And it was just that Bryce Harper home run. A lot of Philly fans were questioning that contract.
Yes.
Is Bryce Harper really worth that money? He still might not be, but this definitely helps his case.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I said from the get-go, Bryce is worth the money. Very, very, very good player, especially when healthy. I think he's just not been benefiting from the talent around him. That Nationals team, looking back on it, him, Trey Turner, Juan Soto, Strasburg, Max Scherzer, Kurt Suzuki, that team's very, very good. Never made a playoff. Never won a postseason series. That's insane.
Yeah. So
he gets his contract, gets to Philly. He even wins an MVP in a Phillies uniform. Takes him to their first postseason and since 2008 in a Phillies uniform.
Or 2010.
2010, yeah. 2008 is when they won.
Yeah.
2010, 10-year drought. And then now hits a clutch home run. I think personally what this means to the Phillies, and he cannot be an MVP for the rest of his contract, and they might not even make the postseason the rest of his contract. But this kind of at least gives him some form of pay, hey, you were kind of worth it. And I think that kind of sheds a light on him.
Yeah, and I mean the Phillies should be here. I mean they are they're a high payroll team. I believe they're
second in baseball.
second in baseball. I thought they were fourth in baseball.
Mm-mm.
Second in the NL, maybe.
No, they're second in all of baseball.
Second
They have
in
the
all
second
baseball?
highest payroll. I will
Okay.
double check that.
Either
So,
way,
hold that.
regardless of whatever it is, it's top. It's top of the baseball world, and they probably should be here. And they had some. Oh, they are too. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a lot of injuries during the season. I think Bryce Harper missed a couple months.
Yeah, I mean Bryce Harper went down to the AAA.
You're right, and we probably should have saw this coming if we're being honest. Yeah, we're looking at this here.
163 million.
Yankees are 7.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Well, the Yankees are so low just because they only paid 2 people.
I guess you're right.
They've only
but-
played John Carlos and Garrett Cole. Now,
Yeah.
if they sign Aaron Judge, that will probably go to 1.
Yeah.
But outside of those guys, they don't really have anybody high ticket dollar.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
And let's go.
I
to
didn't
the bottom.
realize the Padres were 3.
Who's at the bottom?
That'd be the Oakland
A's?
A's. Oh no.
Ooh,
Oh no, you got one more.
where's that?
I don't know.
Oh,
but
there must
it
be a
says
tie.
29.
Is there a tie?
No, because Cleveland's 28. There's no Oakland on that list. It has to be Oakland, unless you scroll up and it's there.
There's no way Oakland's fucking top 15.
Yeah,
so it's gotta be.
It's Oakland's 30. For whatever reason, it cuts it off there.
Huh? That's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe it's so low. They're like, ah.
Yeah, it's not even on the website. You can't
Right,
even
right.
scroll.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely something like I wouldn't say necessarily it's a surprise that they're there.
Mhm.
I think they have been underperforming the past couple of years, and now it's kind of coming to fruition.
Yeah, I think it's still a surprise, but it's one of those maybe we should have saw it coming.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just think with how they started the season and how poorly they played. Obviously, Joe Girardi just got fired like first 50 games in.
Right.
But they definitely turned it around and has come to fruition, and it's kind of paying dividends.
Mm-hmm.
So good for them. Should be a fun World Series matchup. You got
Sure.
any predictions?
I'll say Astros in 6. I do think the Astros pull out. You know how they're pulling. Yeah, I do think the Astros do win. I'll probably be pulling for Philly. Got some good Philly friends.
Yeah.
Got good Astros friends. So we'll see how things play out. Should be fun.
And who doesn't want to root for the underdog too? I mean,
Yeah.
I would say the Phillies were technically the underdog in this scenario.
100%.
And also Astros probably one of the MLB's villains behind maybe like the Yankees.
Yeah,
But if not the Yankees, it's definitely the Astros. So
for sure.
I could see why most people are going to be rooting for Philly.
Yeah, and I mean the videos. I mean, just them winning the NL, the videos were awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be like when the Eagles won, all
Yeah.
those videos that came out. I mean, that was a fun day for me on Twitter, just scrolling down.
Guy eating horse shit.
Yeah.
Like, wild day.
Dude,
Philly knows how to throw down.
they know how to throw down. So I think rooting for that, I do want to see that happen again.
Well, that kind of gives our baseball talk. I'm going to say Astros in 4.
Astros in 4. Okay.
Why not? Sweep the whole postseason.
Yeah, you got.
We'll be the first team ever in MLB history to do it. I can shoot for it. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But I'll speak it into existence.
Why not?
Closed mouth don't get fed.
They don't.
All right. Let's get to our pick'ems, and then on Ryan's 2-minute drill, and then we'll wrap up the episode. So let's get to our pick'ems. John, lay it out for me.
All right, so we had a pretty good team week. I went 8-2. You guys went 7-3 last week. So Harrison, you're at 51-29. I'm at 53-27, only 2 games above you.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, you're at 44-36. So we're all pretty well above 500 now. Ryan's coming, kind of bringing it back into the race. But our first game, we got the Ohio State Buckeyes traveling over to Happy Valley to take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Ryan, who do you got?
This is gonna be really tough decision. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with that team in Central Columbus. You know, the Columbus Blue. Ohio State.
I thought you were about to say Ohio Dominion.
Yeah, I think personally, I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a field goal game. Hopefully you can pick up on my sarcasm. I think Ohio State wins by 45 plus. So, Ohio State.
Yeah. I'm taking the Buckeyes as well. I think Penn State's backup quarterback is better than their current starting quarterback, so take that as you will. I'm taking the Buckeyes.
I will say though, Penn State not always. What? I mean, actually, no. The past like 4 or 5 games have been like 1-point games, right?
I mean,
I can't remember what last year was.
it hasn't been. No, it's been close though. Last year we beat them by like 10-ish.
I remember we had 3 years in a row where it was literally a 1-point game.
Yeah, 2017 we beat them by 1. 2018 we beat them by 1 or 2.
And then we lost them by one year.
I think we lost by 3.
It was something.
But yeah, no,
But
16.
I think Penn State always plays us close. Same with like Northwestern, even though I think when we play Northwestern there, it's going to be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they know how to use their tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you beat Ohio State. I mean, maybe not
in the past.
Maybe not this year because our linebackers are actually fucking gross this year.
Yeah.
But like in the past, just get like right behind linebackers with the tight end. That's how you beat us.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Obviously, we'll see how this game plays out. I just think Penn State, along with Clemson, are two of the teams that are still in playoff contention with backup quarterbacks better than their starters.
I mean, personally, I think the thing is there's always a team that plays a team that they should beat the shit out of, but they always play them close. Ohio State's got Penn State, and I think Ohio State's got Northwestern as well. Maybe a flash in the pan of like Purdue and Iowa, like just one like flare, like they're gonna this not like a trap game, but it's like you're playing Purdue at night, and now it's raining, like that's gonna be like kind of a trap game. Like Michigan always is played close by Indiana, no matter the circumstance.
Yeah.
Michigan State always plays Michigan close, no matter the circumstance. So it's just one of those things where every team's got that one catch-all. So I think Ohio State always has kind of the thorn in the side of Penn State and James Franklin. I would say Ohio State's benefited 90% of the time out of it, except for the 1 year.
Yeah.
But I just don't see a scenario where Penn State is. I mean, Ohio State's offense is just very super potent, and B, their defense is just lights out too. So
yeah,
I just think I think this might be one of those off years where Penn State doesn't. It's not even close for Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State's beaten us once since we fired Urban, so and that was kind of on a fluke. Next game, we're going over to the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, as the Oklahoma State Cowboys take on the Kansas State Wildcats. Ryan, who do you got?
I'm going to Oklahoma State.
I am also going Oklahoma State, coming off a big win against Texas, and Kansas State kind of got worked against TCU in the sense that I feel like Kansas State was winning in control, and then TCU kind of stormed back and took it away from them. So
yeah,
it was close game. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like a 20-point blowout, but I think I'm going to go with them.
I'm actually going to rock with the Wildcats. It's going to be a very. I think this game's going to be pretty close. I'm just going to stick with the home team here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Wildcats. Next game, we have another ranked matchup between the Kentucky Wildcats and the Tennessee Volunteers. Ryan, who do you got?
Tennessee.
I mentioned before, Kentucky, frauds. So I'm going to go Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, Kentucky is the biggest fraud in our poll still remaining.
Outside of Ole Miss. Or do you think that Kentucky is bigger fraud than Ole Miss?
Now that Ole Miss is number 17 in our poll, I'll say Kentucky.
Okay.
Plus, Ole Miss did beat Kentucky. I'll give them that. So I'm going to go with Tennessee Volunteers. By the way, all these games on Halloween, I believe. So this will be a little spooky.
Ah, God, you fucking told.
A little spooky.
You told.
Next game, maybe the greatest game of all time. One of the greatest rivalries, the butt game.
Butt game.
BU at TT, Baylor at Texas Tech. Ryan, who do you got?
I'm actually going to go Baylor.
Baylor Bears?
See, this is kind of a tough game because neither of them are super pretty to like root for, and neither of them played particularly well. I'm gonna go Texas Tech solely for I think the purpose you're going with Texas Tech is that they're home.
Yeah.
The spread you said is like 1 point or like 3.
That's actually what I'm pulling up. It's Texas Tech minus 2.5. So it's only a 2.5 point game.
So I'm gonna just play her safe. Go Texas Tech. Home team's gonna pull her out. But I do think I wouldn't even be surprised if it's closer than that. Like it could be like literally a 1 point, 2 point game.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat here. I'm taking the home team, but I can easily see Baylor winning this game. That's kind of why I picked this for the pick'em. I thought it would be a pretty competitive game.
And it's the butt game. Like, how do you not pick the butt game?
And it's the butt game, so have to go with that. Go with the Red Raiders. Last college football game, we got the Pitt Panthers going down to Chapel Hill to take on the North Carolina Tar Heels. Ryan, who do you got?
I'll go North Carolina.
Yeah, NC's gonna roll and roll here. I think NC's playing really well these past couple weeks, and that's why they made her pull and keep moving up.
Yeah, and I mentioned this last week. I think the Tar Heels are kind of the most under the radar team right now in college football. So I'm going to pick them to beat the Pitt Panthers, of course. I think they're just a solid team that people are kind of overlooking. Moving on to the NFL, tomorrow night we got the Ravens taking on the Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football. Ryan, who do you got?
Ravens.
Bucks have looked pretty awful of late, so I'm gonna go Ravens as well.
Yeah,
when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, the Buccaneers. This isn't even a bounce back spot at this point. They've lost 2 in a row. It's hard for me to want to take the Buccaneers here, so I'm going with the Ravens. Next game, we got our little rivalry game. We got the Patriots taking on the New York Football Jets. Ryan, who do you got?
Jets.
Patriots would be a good pick here.
Do you want to?
But I'm gonna go
okay
with the New York Jets. Playing really good. I think the concern I have is Breece Hall. Gonna be out for the year.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be cause for concern. But I like them to win this game.
I'm gonna be the contrarian here. I'm going with the New England Patriots. I know there's a little bit of a QB controversy, but I just think the Patriots just kind of have the Jets number. Jets with Breece Hall out. They also have another offensive lineman out for the year. I'm just going to play it safe with the Patriots. Next game, we got pretty surprising matchup. I don't think we would have thought these teams would be as good as they are, but we have the Giants traveling to Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Ryan, who do you
got? Giants.
This is a trap game, 1,000%. I'm taking the Giants, but Gino's going to cook.
Yeah.
You're going to let him.
Yeah, and he's my starting quarterback of my franchise, so I have to go with the Seattle Seahawks here. Also, I think it's kind of weird that they're favorited over the Giants here. It's kind of why I'm leaning Seahawks. Next game, we got Sunday Night Football. Maybe a snoozer, but we have the Packers taking on the Bills. Ryan, who do you got?
Bills.
Yeah, I don't really see this game being very competitive, but I'm taking the Bills. But saying it now, Thursday night games have not been good, and they've been awful. Maybe the Packers pull one out here.
Well, it's a Sunday night.
Oh, I thought this was the Thursday. Oh, is that next?
Thursday night was Ravens Buccaneers.
Oh, take that back. I meant Monday night.
Okay, yeah.
I meant Monday night.
Yeah.
This is Sunday night. Never mind. Bills.
Yeah. I mean, we always pick the Bills. I think none of us have ever gone against the Bills. I don't know if any of us will go against the Bills this year.
No, I mean, they're the favorites, so.
I'm going Bills. Last game on our slate, got Monday Night Football, our home state. We got the Bengals taking on the Browns in Cleveland. Ryan, who do you got?
I'm going to go the Bengals.
Bengals are playing really good football right now, especially Daddy Burrow on the side of things, so I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go Bengals.
Against my better judgment, I am going with my Cleveland Browns here. Browns have just kind of had the Bengals number here of recent. I let you two die with your teams last week.
Yeah, I respect that.
And I'll go down with my ship.
Hey, who knows? If they win, that gives you an extra point here.
That is true, but I am going against you guys in a lot of... I am like the odd man out in at least 3 games here, I think.
Who's your odd out on? Kansas State?
Kansas State, Seattle, and Cleveland.
Cleveland. All right, I respect
that. And the Patriots.
Oh, you picked the Patriots?
Yeah, so I'm 4 out of the 6.
So this could be a big week for you or a bad week
really
for
bad,
us.
or a really bad week for me.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So we'll see how that goes. We'll obviously let you guys know. We'll post that to Twitter later so you guys can keep up with that. But let's get to Ryan's 2-minute drill. Ryan, whenever you're ready. Ryan's 2-minute drill is brought to you by our friends at Coast to Coast Sports. Thank you for sponsoring the pod. No, Ryan's 2-minute drill is some fun, interesting sports facts, trivia, or something that comes along the timeline that he's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever he gets his sports knowledge, something that he thinks is cool and interesting, brings it to our attention, and in 2 minutes, we have 2 minutes to answer them. 5 answers, 5 questions, 5 quick hits, 5 answers under 2 minutes. Pretty self-explanatory. We've done pretty good this past couple weeks. Let's keep her going. Ryan, whenever you're ready, sweet cheeks.
All right. So, Jim Nance is having one last ride with the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Is he the GOAT for college basketball games? Call him.
If it's not him, I'm not sure who it would be personally. If he's Clark's pretty great. I'm more of a Jim Nance guy, but I respect Clark. I'm going Jim personally.
I'm gonna say no on the GOAT, but it's gonna be sad to see him go.
Uh-huh.
CP3 joins the 11,000 assist club. Is he becoming the GOAT point guard?
I don't think having just a bunch of assists makes you the GOAT point guard. John Stockton and Jason Kidd, very good. Magic Johnson's always my GOAT. Never will be beaten.
I think he is. I mean, it's not Steph Curry. He blew a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals, so it's gotta be CP3.
All right. San Francisco Giants will, quote, not be outbid for their pursuit of Aaron Judge. Will Aaron get a new uniform next season?
I hope he is, just because all he did for the Yankees this year and was pretty much the main reason why they were an offensive powerhouse and got as many wins as they did was because of him and the history he broke. And for their fans to boom, fucking joke. I think he should be.
I'm gonna say no. I think he still signs with the Yankees. I think the Giants are the one team he'd go to, but that ballpark's a little too big for him.
Cubs.
Cubs got a lot of money, so maybe.
Do have money. I haven't heard that, but that would make sense.
Aaron Boone is set to come back as the manager for the Yankees next season. Is this the right move for them?
No, he's a bitch.
Okay, John going with that approach. I'm going to say no, just because it's not the fact that he keeps losing to the Astros, it's that he can't keep getting past certain teams, not just the Astros, but getting further into the playoffs than what he should.
All right. 49ers acquire Christian McCaffrey from the Panthers for some picks. Who benefits the most from this?
I'm going to say the Panthers. You got rid of your best player, I know, but you got a ton of picks back, and they're tanking clearly for CJ or Bryce this year. So I think the Panthers benefit.
I think both teams actually came out of winners here. 49ers, it's anybody's division this year. This kind of puts them above the competition.
All right.
I agree with that.
I don't know. I kind of think it's weird for the whole tanking thing, because you've seen teams do it in the past few years, like Jacksonville got Trevor Lawrence, hasn't really worked out. In my opinion, if you're going to tank for a quarterback, you're expected to be tanking for the next 2 or 3 years to get other, assets around them. Like, they got Trevor Lawrence, they don't have an offensive line, they don't have wide receivers or weapons for him. So, what's the point?
No, I mean, the whole tanking thing is you're just trying to get that guy and hopefully you can acquire or at least develop.
Right.
I mean,
right.
You're hoping to hit on a late round draft pick for a wide receiver. So I think that's kind of the thought process. And I think that's why the Panthers did that. They're like, look, you can have our best running back, but we're going to get some seconds and some thirds and some fifth rounds for you so we can maybe cash in on those other weapons or offensive line. So
yep.
I think that's kind of the main reason they do it. It's kind of a shit show. It's 50-50 on those, but worked out for the Bengals. Tanked, got Joe Burrow, and went to a Super Bowl 2 years later. So I think that's going to honestly ruin a lot of people's take. Like, oh, we're going to just tank because we can all be like the Bengals, and that's just not how it works. So yeah, we'll see. But thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. We really appreciate it. Be a friend, tell a friend, as always. John, you got anything to say to people before we let them go?
No, I can't think anything. Just fuck Penn State.
Fuck Penn State. Ryan, you got anything to say before people let go?
No, pretty much the same thing as Don said.
All right. Well, the only thing I got to say is hopefully Astros in 4, and I think it'll be like 3 games will be played until the next episode, or 3 or 4 games. So we'll have kind of an update for you on how the postseason's going and that we're getting ready to be done with it almost. So go Astros. Only thing I got to say, we'll see you next week. Peace.